Hi, Tracy Baker here for Baker Gets Cooking. I'm with Seth today, and Seth and I are going to make one of his favorite casseroles. Just a basic spaghetti and hamburger casserole, but they love it, he loves it, and this is how he's going to learn how to cook. So you start by cooking things that they really like, and he really likes this one. And it's a really easy one, it's really comforting. It's good to have in the freezer. This freezes well, it reheats well. It doubles well. You could make 2 casseroles and then put one in the freezer to have later. So the first thing that we have to start out with is cooking the pasta. So we've got a pot of boiling water here. You want to take off the lid and then just put it back here. Okay, so we're going to cook this is about 450 grams of spaghettini.
Okay then.
Here, I'm going to give you half, Seth, just to hold, please. And I like to break it in half just because it makes mixing it a little bit easier. Whoop, we get spaghetti everywhere. And there's just a little bit more. You can throw those ones in there too. So Seth, you've made this casserole before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have. So this is just practice. You give it a stir. So that's just lightly salted water. It's important to salt your pasta water. It helps make pasta taste better. Okay, that's perfect. Make sure that all the noodles are down in the water and it'll come back to a boil. So we're just going to let that cook, Seth, okay? And just put the spoon beside it. So while the pasta is cooking, we're going to prepare the other ingredients to go in it. We're going to make this in just one pot, so there's one pot to wash. And Seth is going to finish chopping the green peppers. So I've got 1 onion diced and 1 green pepper diced. You could put 2 green peppers in if your family really likes green peppers, that's fine. And I just have a few pepper strips for Seth to finish dicing. So I'm just going to show you the knife that he uses and the knife that I use and know that they're different. Okay, so I use this chef's knife. It's about an 8-inch chef's knife. And it works for me. It feels good in my hand, but it's way too big for him. So he uses either one of these. Which one do you prefer today? That one? Which feels better? So it's a smaller knife. It's not a dull knife. It's a sharp knife. And it's important to give them sharp tools to work with because they're more likely to cut their fingers if they use a dull knife as compared to a sharp knife. So they have to start somewhere, and you get good at it with practice, and that's what he's going to do. So do you want to move your stool a little bit? And then you're right, yeah. Okay, so you can finish dicing them, and we want them about that square. Okay, so Seth, what do you want to be careful of when you're cutting vegetables?
Chopping your fingers off.
You don't want to chop your fingers off. They won't chop their fingers off. They may cut themselves at the beginning, and you know what? Some kids just, they need to learn by doing. It's just a cut, get a Band-Aid on it, and let them practice. That's awesome, Seth. Okay, you can put them in there. The other things that you can get ready while the pasta's cooking are 2 tins of condensed soup. Now, I don't cook a lot with pre-made soups, but occasionally I like to, and it's convenient. So in this recipe, we need a can of cream of mushroom soup and a can of tomato soup. And read the labels. A lot of canned soups have extra soy protein and extra salt and sugar added. There's a brand that we can get in Canada. I think you can get them in the States too. It's called Amy's, and Amy makes organic soups, and they're very tasty, and they have no added junk in them and no preservatives. So I have a kid who's a little bit sensitive to preservatives and coloring in food, and so we try not to use anything with preservatives and coloring in it. So the other thing, what else do we need to get ready, Seth? Oh, well, you need a pound of ground beef, or if you want, you could use ground turkey too. we prefer ground beef to ground turkey, so that's what we use. So I guess we just have to wait for the pasta.
Okay.
So I think our pasta's done, Seth. Do you want to taste it?
Sure.
Here, you want to just pick it up with that?
Sure.
Or would you rather have, here, I'll just, whoop. Mommy has heat-proof fingers. See if it's ready. It's okay if it's a little bit firm in the center because it's going to go in the oven and bake, right? So
Yeah.
that's okay. Now I'm going to take this pot. So you just step down, Seth, and I'll take the pot and drain the pasta in the sink. So using the same pot that you cooked the pasta in, we're going to cook our ground beef. Do you want to put that in the pan there, Seth? You can give it a stir.
So do I just plop it in?
Yep.
Okay. And then I stir it with this and this.
Use the spoon. So we're just going to brown the ground beef in the bottom of the pan. So we're going to add some salt and pepper here right at the beginning of the cooking, and that kind of, adding it at the beginning helps to kind of make for a better flavor, and it kind of goes throughout the food. If you try to add it at the end, it's sometimes you end up adding way too much because you can't obtain that depth of flavor. So you need to add it at the beginning. We're not putting very much salt and pepper in here because there's salt in the soup, so you just kind of have to be careful and not add too much. And some pepper. It's good. So the beef is just about browned and ready to, most of the liquid has absorbed off, and so we're going to add our vegetables next. So you can go ahead and add the peppers and the onions. And I'm just going to reduce the heat just a tad. So it's not on high, it's on like medium high, and we're going to cook our vegetables. Do you want to do maybe one at a time, please? Here, I'll hold one. You're going to need your hand to scoop it out, hey? We're just going to cook it a little bit just to soften the vegetables. You can go ahead and stir that up, Seth. Good, okay. That's good. You can just let it cook. So the onions and peppers have been sauteing for, 2 to 5 minutes, and we're going to add a clove of minced garlic. We're just going to cook that for 30 seconds or so. Good.
Do I stir it?
Yeah, you can stir it up. We're just about done. It takes very little time to put this together. It would be a great make ahead. You could mix it up and just put it in the casserole dish. And I wouldn't bake it. I would just cover it and put it in the fridge, and then you can pop it in the oven for 45 minutes until it's heated through and supper's done. Okay, the next thing we need to add are the soups. So you can go ahead and do that, Seth. And I'm going to just rinse this pasta underneath some warm water to release it from the sieve. Take it off of the heat. We don't need it on the element anymore because it's mostly done cooking. I'm going to put it up here.
Put it right there.
I'll turn this off. Okay, then the pasta goes in. Oh, that looks like a lot.
Yeah. But so what?
That'll be good.
And I think I know what to do next.
Do you?
Stir.
Stir it up. In addition to the soups, we're just going to add about a half a can of water.
Which one?
Which spoon?
Yeah.
Well, let's start with that one. I'll hold this.
Okay.
You can stir. You want me to help you here?
Yes, please.
This is the hard part. You might need some help from Mom and Dad with this part. To get it all mixed up is a little bit tricky. Does that look okay? Mixed enough? I have a greased or sprayed 8 cup casserole dish, and we're just going to dump the whole thing in there. I'm going to give you this.
6 inch.
I'm going to do this, and you can scoop out use the spatula and just scoop it in there. Is it going to be big enough? Holy. There is a lot, you're right. But you know what's great about this?
It freezes well.
Yeah, and you can have it for leftovers because it heats up really well too. Thank you. Okay. Now what's the last thing we need to do before it goes in the oven?
Oh, before.
Do you remember?
Cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to put a bit of cheese. So do you want to grate some cheddar?
Sure.
You can just grate it on here and then we'll put it on the top. So just a little cheese to make a nice crust and kind of make it taste a little nicer. This is white cheddar cheese. This is what we like. The orange cheddar cheese has coloring in it, so we use white. And maybe a cup and a half is all you need. Does that look good? Let's see. Let's put it on top and see if there needs to be any more. I think that's probably okay. Good. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so that's ready for the oven. It's going to go into a 350-degree oven for half an hour, 45 minutes until it's hot all the way through and bubbling around the edges. So we'll be back when we're ready to eat. He can't wait. Okay, so the casserole's out of the oven now and it's bubbling and it's very hot and it's all crispy on the top. And we're just about to sit down for supper. So tonight we're going to have some sliced tomatoes and a side salad with this. And that's really all you need is just some veggies and this, and that's it. So Seth, would you like to scoop a little bit on the plate and we can have a taste test?
Sure.
Get it, you go like cut. Yeah. It's okay. One big scoop, that'll be good. Awesome. Are you ready to taste test?
Yep.
Okay, grab a fork. Let's go for it. It's hot, so blow. Mmm. Pretty good job, bud. Cooking with kids, it's a good thing. You think you can make this by yourself?
Maybe.
Maybe? I bet you could. So I think that there's 3 principles that you have to kind of adhere to when cooking with kids. Number 1 is that you need to keep it simple. You start out simple and then you get progressively more difficult and more advanced over time as they're ready for it. The second thing is that you cook something that they really like. They'll have incentive to make it if they really, really like it. Let them choose what they want to make. And the third thing is you need to let them practice. So you just need to let them chop vegetables and grate cheese and do whatever and make a mess. And eventually they'll get good at it. I think it's one of the best life skills that you can give your children is to teach them how to cook for themselves. They'll be less interested in grabbing a box or a jar from the pantry with lots of extra preservatives and other stuff that they don't need in it, and more able to fend for themselves. So I think it's a great thing. I hope your family likes this as much as mine does. It's Tracy Baker and Seth for Baker Gets Cooking. See you next time. Bye.